Hello, welcome to the first video on my channel. In honor of my first day of summer vacation, I think I want to do a reading challenge in which all my books have to spell out the word summer. So for instance, I would need 5 to 6 books for this. And the first one would have to have an S in it. The first one would have to have a U in it. M-E-R. So the thing about that is that there's a lot of words that have E and S. And I think to keep it like tight, I think the book title is going to have the letter S-U-M-M-E-R in the first 50% of the title. I've just decided that. And I need to pick a majority hardcover books. I just decided that too. Otherwise, basically every book is an option because every book has an S or an E or an R. Those are very common letters. So I think in order to really keep it spicy, the letter needs to appear in the first 50% of the book title. Here, I'll put some like fun music and speed up my quick assessment of my books. Okay, I wasn't going to include library books, but now I'm adding the clause that I'm allowed to use library books. I'll get better at this as I go on, and I won't make things up as I go along. But for today, have some grace, please. Okay, I have Headshot from the library. I heard about it when I was watching a recent episode of Books Unbound with Ariel Bassett and Raylene. And I don't think they actually mentioned it in the podcast. I think Ariel linked her Bookmobile's website, and I looked at some of the categories of books she has there, and one of them was like books about sports, but they're not really about sports. But I think I'm going to go Headshot by Rita Bullwinkle. And that the first half of that word is head. And so the E, that's going to check off my E for summer. I've decided I'm doing it. And because I already said library books are okay, I'm also going to go for The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. Yeah, I'll say what these are about in once I have all of them. So that is for the S in summer, school S. So I got my S and I got my E, which were the easy letters anyway. So now's where the real fun begins. I need R, 2 M's, and a U. The U, there's no way the U, I don't think the U is going to come from my hardcover books. I don't have that many to begin with. And I just don't see them having the letter U. Okay, so I did say most of them had to be hardcover, but not all of them. And I think in order to minimize the number of books in this video, I'm going to choose Emma by Jane Austen, which is a paperback I recently got at Barnes & Noble. And it has 2 M's, so I'm actually going to count that as the MM in summer, as the double M in summer. So U and R. U and R. There's a book I really want to read because I started... Oh. Okay, yes, I was saying. So there's a book I'm looking at and I really want to read it. And I've actually been trying to read it since last year. But I was really taking my time with it, just reading like a couple pages every night. But she's a chunker. And I just don't know if I want to include that chunker when I already have this chunker. How many pages is this? I'm such an amateur booktuber because I can't put this down. Ugh. Okay, maybe I won't use that one. Okay, so I need U and I need R. U and R. And I need mostly hardcover. I have 2 hardcovers. I need at least one more hardback in order to have it be the majority. So I can start looking at my paperbacks. I can get at least one more paperback. Okay, there's a book I'm looking at, and I really want to read it, but I already read it. But I have been rereading a lot this year and really enjoying that. So maybe I will. And I did read it. I think it was last summer. Yeah, I think my art choice is going to be Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. That leaves You. And that has to be a paperback. Oh, man. I really backed myself into a corner here. So I don't think I have a paperback that has a title that has a U in it, let alone in the first half. I don't. Oh, is this the first 50%? I think this is exact. It's another chunker, though. She's another thick girl. I mean, what else am I going to do this summer? Let me just pick it. Yeah, I think the U in The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah is the 6th letter out of 12 letters. Yeah, it's perfectly in the first 50%. And it's a hardcover. We did it. Okay, let's recap. For S, we have The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan, about a woman who is put in an experimental Big Brother-like facility where everyone is watching her. There are cameras everywhere, and she is trying to prove that she is a good mother despite the one thing she did during her very bad day. Spelling out the U in summer, we have The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah, about a woman and her family during the Dust Bowl, Great Depression, 1920s, 1930s era, in which she needs to overcome her own struggles to provide for her family at a time where survival is everything and not guaranteed. Emma by Jane Austen. She's a gossip. She talks too much. She's trying to do right by her friends. She can't stop meddling. Will she ever learn? Will she fall in love? Yes and yes. The book's 200 years old. It's not a spoiler, I don't think. The E in summer comes from Headshot by Rita Bullwinkle, which, by the way, I don't know if that's the author's real name, but it's the perfect name for someone who writes a book about boxing. Anyways, about 8 girl boxers who are trying to prove they are the best in the state, and we learn a little bit about each of them, what brought them to the ring, and whether or not they will in fact leave a legacy behind. Finishing off with the letter R in summer is the only book in this list which I have already read, which is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, about an all-star tennis icon who comes out of retirement to defend her title and try to prove to the world and maybe herself that she still has what it takes. All right, here's the review for The School for Good Mothers. The first book I read for this video is The School for Good Mothers. I've returned the book to the library at this point, so it'll go up here somewhere. I actually am recording this at the end of the video because I forgot to talk about it. It is about a woman named Rita. I think her name is Rita. It's been so long since I read it. In the beginning of the story, she has what she keeps referring back to as her very bad day. And she leaves her baby home alone for about 2 hours because she was just really overwhelmed and she just did not want to be around, I don't know, her baby anymore. She didn't want to be around the screams and the crying and the someone constantly needing you. So she went out for 2 hours. In that time, her neighbors called the police and were like, yo, there's a baby crying and screaming, and it's been crying and screaming for a long time. So what ends up happening is that Frida is now on a mission and a journey to prove to the state that she is responsible enough to keep custody of this baby. And she gets sent to a school for good mothers where she meets other women who have done some questionable parenting moves. And they are all here to learn how to be really great, amazing mothers. And I do like the themes of the story. I love books about why parenting, I was gonna say sucks. I feel like we often hear people talk about like why parenting is amazing and how much parenting is worthwhile. And so I really enjoy books and stories about like, oh, actually being a parent is hard and it kind of sucks, and there are some of us who regret it, but that's not something you can really say out loud. So I really like those stories. So I really, really wanted this book to work for me, and it was good. It was a good book. It was like an averagely good book. It didn't go as far as I wanted it to. The writing was fine. No complaints with the writing. But it didn't, like, I don't know, when you think of something like The Handmaid's Tale, when you're really thinking of this dystopian, scary world for women, I don't know, I feel like this book, The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan, it just didn't quite go as far as I wanted it to. There is a component of the story having to do with dolls that I think is super interesting, and I actually would have loved more focus on that. I mean, not to say it didn't focus on it, but I wish the whole book was about that. Like, that was the most interesting part. I was like, oh, I just want to stay in that scenario. But it was good. I read it as the first book in this video, which was about 3 weeks ago. And I think once I closed the last page, I haven't thought about it since. So it didn't stick with me. A little bit disappointing because I was really excited for the concept. But yeah, it was fine. It was fine. I would still recommend it to someone who's interested in like dystopian kind of eerie novels. Hello, I have a few minutes before I go into the doctor's office, and I've been listening to Carrie Soto is Back. I'm popping in here because I don't think I actually have said what Carrie Soto is Back is about. It is about a woman who, at the very beginning of the novel, she's watching a tennis tournament or a tennis like final with her father, who used to be her coach, because at this point she's retired. She's like 37. And she's been retired for like 5 years. And she's watching a tennis tournament with her dad, and she's watching the new #1 women's tennis athlete. She just like matched her record for the number of like slams. And if there's one thing about Carrie, is like she needs to be that girl. And so if someone's coming for her brand, she's like, no. And so she looks at her dad and she's like, oh, so we're doing this. And he's like, I guess we are doing this. And they go, okay, let's get the hell out of retirement and let's get my record. And that's the premise. Carrie Soto is back. She's coming out of retirement. She needs the world to remember, like, oh, no. I'm that girl. Like, I'm the best. And I know you've got new people coming up. And I know this one player, Nikki Chan, is coming for my record, but don't worry, I'm back. And I know I'm 37, and I know that is very unnatural in sports. I know I'm very old in sports. Don't worry, I'm the best. I got this. I'm going to defend my title. And I've been doing the audiobook because I really enjoyed that last summer. I remember going on walks and listening to the audiobook. And I kind of tried to read it. Oh, I'm having a pain. I'm having like a sharp, I think it's like a digestion pain. Ow. What was I saying? Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm listening to the audiobook of Carrie Soto is Back. Sorry about the angle. I'm like trying to make sure my face is shown. I tried to read the book in tandem, but the book, at least the copy I have, like the pages are very, like the text isn't black. It's like almost like a dark gray, which makes it very hard to read, like very hard on my eye. Like I already have bad vision. And so I might pick up the book again to do a little like hybrid situation, but I think for now I'm content listening to the audiobook. I really like that whenever, cause it's a sports, it's a sports book. So whenever there's like a sports news segment, they play like the like sports music, and then they have actual like people doing like the welcome back to Sports Center, blah blah blah. So it's really cool. I really like that part of it. My opinion on the audiobook is that Carrie sounds a little bit whiny and a little bit like unlikable, but I think that's perfect because that's her character. Like she is hard to like, and that's like a big part of her personality. I actually think the narrator captures that very well. Oh, okay. I don't know if Taylor Jenkins Reid, okay, she decided to make Carrie Soto Argentinian, and She speaks a lot of Spanglish and Spanish with her dad and vice versa. So I imagine that Carrie did meet with Spanish speakers and was like, hey, is this phrase correct? Is this phrase natural? Is this accurate? Does this make sense? So I'm assuming she did that. But it still sounds really corny to me. It still sounds like she speaks Spanish for the sake of like reminding us that she is a Spanish speaker and not because it's natural to the character. Like, she speaks Spanglish, I don't know. It's like, hey chica. No, not that. But like, I remember one phrase she told her dad, like, she's speaking in English, a whole sentence in English. And then she's like, dad, da da da, but, blah, 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 blah. But instead of saying but, she's like, ba 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 ba, pero, ba 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 ba. And so she only uses one Spanish word in that sentence, and it's the conjunction. I don't know. It feels unnatural. Like, it feels like, I don't know. The Spanglish is a bit corny. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. If you know what I'm trying to say, cool. But truly, that's my only gripe. So, literally seconds ago, I just finished Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Oh my gosh. I'm feeling, it's still one of my favorite books. I thought that maybe reading it a second time and knowing how things go and the resolution, and I thought that might affect how much I enjoyed it. But no, I feel like I'm gonna cry. It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. I don't know. I think anyone reading this who has issues with needing to be the best, anyone watching this who genuinely thinks that being like getting second place, like all that means is that you didn't get first place, this is the book for you. It's incredible watching this character, this unlikable, hard to love, angry, pouty, stubborn woman go after the things she loves and just be so incredibly talented and so incredibly flawed. And what else can I say? There's nothing else I can say. It's so good. I'm glad I read it. Yeah. I finished reading Headshot. First of all, look at my zucchini. Look at my zucchini child. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Okay, here are my thoughts on Headshot. Very similar to Carrie, Soto is Back. It's about girlhood or womanhood. It is about the pursuit of something. It is about rivalry. It is about passion, legacy, desire, sports. So thematically very similar. But if Carrie, Soto is Back is a film, then Headshot is a theater performance. And I don't know if that makes sense, but Carrie, Soto is Back is about the story, about the character, about Carrie Soto's journey. It is about Carrie Soto. Headshot follows 8 girls. Headshot follows 8 girls as they compete in the finals of this tournament, or I guess the quarterfinals, semifinals, quarterfinals of this tournament to be crowned the best girl boxer in the United States. And it follows these 8 girls as they're boxing and as they're like punching each other. They're also thinking back to some things in their life and sort of these things that they're punching their way through. You know, these like traumas and the pain that they bring into the ring and the pain that they then deliver. It's like they're taking the pain from their life and delivering it to the other girls. But it's not personal. It's really not. It's they're not angry as much as they have anger that they then transform into talent and skill and punches. I don't know that I will always remember who the girls were in this book, but best believe I'm always gonna remember where we were. Like I can picture everything so well because the writing is all about like sense. It's all about really getting you to feel like it's tangible, like the smell, the touch, the sound. It's so, that's what I mean to me. It's like theater. It's like, it's a feeling. It's an experience. Really, it's an experience. It's like going to a black box theater and sitting down and watching this incredible performance that is about the same thematic themes that Carrie Soto is about, but it's a theater. It's about the feeling more than it is about a particular story. The writing is so, it really captivates. The writing really captivates being there with these girls. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was really cool actually reading it right after Carrie Soto is back and being able to compare these two pieces. And I mean, not to pit two queens against each other, I would never. But just to sort of see the Venn diagram of these two stories. It was really interesting. And Carrie Soto's back is great. Headshot is great. There's no need to compete. Or enough competing. We're done with all this competition. I'm starting to read Gemma. I'm starting to read Emma by Jane Austen. This is the first Jane Austen novel that I will be reading. This particular edition, which is so gorgeous. I mean, ooh. I actually went to go by Sense and Sensibility because I figured that would be a good place to start. But I genuinely only bought this one because it was so gorgeous. So in the beginning of this novel, there are some notes by, who is writing these notes? Juliet Wells. So Miss Juliet Wells is giving us notes about, Emma and the history of Emma and the production of Emma. So these are the tips for reading Emma, and one of them says read passages aloud. Reading aloud was a common way to enjoy novels throughout Austen's lifetime and beyond. 19th century people of leisure, like the characters in Emma, had a lot of long evenings to get through. Hearing Austen's words in her own voice can be especially helpful in navigating through her longer sentences and paragraphs. So I was at the park earlier and I started reading, and I tried that, but I don't know, I felt a little bit silly because I was in a public place. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. Oh, much better. And so the next tip is try an audiobook. Let a talented narrator with a delightful accent read to you. So that's what I've been doing. Oh, game changer. For someone like me who's very intimidated by classic lit, because to be honest, I feel this is a hot take, but I don't want to read something if I have to, work to understand it. I guess a lot of stories you have to work to understand. But I mean, if I have to really work to understand the language, just because the language is like old-timey, like Shakespeare, like that too, I'm like, I don't want to read it. But the audiobook for sure is a game changer. Like through her beautiful narration, I can actually understand what's happening because she's just acting it out so well. But yeah, I am 20 pages in. It's 400 plus pages. So I'm predicting I'll be done. Today is Thursday. I'm predicting I'll be done Sunday, Monday. I'm not a very fast reader. So probably in 4 or 5 days if I really put my heart and soul into it. So as it turns out, I did not put my heart and soul into it. It is Tuesday, and I don't even know where Emma is. It's in my living room somewhere. I only read I'm like 120 pages in or something. I got distracted, and I'm almost done with The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. I'm 424 pages in. I have, how many more pages? I just saw something. I think it's a spoiler. Oh no. Damn. Hey. I was already scared of the ending, but now I'm more scared based off what I think I saw. Okay, I'm ready to talk about it. It's the next day. You know what? I need to clean. I will talk and put my clean laundry away at the same time. I think I did know that The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah was sad, but I tend to not gravitate toward historical fiction. Just something about, I don't know, just something about things being in the past. I don't know. And so I think even though I did know it was sad, I just didn't expect it to, I don't know, impact me because it was in a genre that I hardly ever read. That being said, obviously, it tugged at my heartstrings. The Four Winds. It takes place in Great Depression / Dust Bowl era in obviously the United States. And like from the, I don't know, what year that? 20s through 30s. We follow this woman Els. Wait, let me not put my bras and panties away on camera. We follow this woman Els, and she is from a family that's not very kind, and that's putting it lightly. She got sick once when she was like 14, and we start the story off with her being 25. So back when she was like 14, she got a fever once, like a high fever. And since then, the whole family, her dad, her mom, her sisters, they see her as like this like sickly person who will not amount to much. Yeah, they just don't see her as a full-fledged human being, as an equal. And they think she's ugly because she's 6 feet tall and plain. First of all, I would love to be 6 feet tall. Are you kidding me? Put me on the cover of Vogue magazine. Them calling her ugly because she's an Amazonian woman is wild. She comes from a family that is not good. She comes from a family that's not loving, that's not accepting of her. And I don't want to say too much because I actually didn't know anything going into it, and I really enjoyed not knowing anything. So let me see what the synopsis says. But for Elsa Wolcott, deemed too old to marry in a time when marriage was a woman's only option, the future seems bleak. Okay, it does mention. So she meets this guy. What's his name? What's his name? Rafa something. Raffaello. But they call him Rafe because they want it to be more American. Okay, yeah, it does. Wow, it does tell you that. I mean, I guess it does happen early on. But she meets a man who shows her promise, who for the first time puts the idea in her that, oh, you know what, maybe I don't have to be a lonely spinster. Maybe someone does love me or will love me. And it follows their story. I'll just leave it at that. It follows their story. Even during my reading, I was like looking up photos of like, what does a dust storm look like? And it's insane. These like what looks like huge tsunami ocean waves, but it's sand. It's dust. The imagery is so descriptive and so on point. I can really visualize these dusty, dirty conditions in the Great Plains. Like at one point, Kristin Hannah writes how they wake up and they like get up from their mattress and they leave an outline of their body because all the dust has come into the house and on the bed and on the sheets. Now when a person gets up from the mattress, you can see an outline of dirt and dust. And that really, I mean, it really puts you there in the time. I think that's my issue. I guess as I'm talking out loud, sort of like figuring out what is my issue with historical fiction. I think my issue is that I often can't, I don't know, I just can't picture, it's hard to really picture something from so long ago. But this author, Kristin, she did a really great job of putting me in the year, in the location, in the family structure. I really felt it. Obviously, I did create an emotional connection with the characters because, you know, I was crying. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm actually really thankful and grateful for this reading challenge because that's a book I've had this book forever. And I got it from the thrift store for like $2. And I know I read the synopsis, I think, when I bought it. I read it and liked it enough to get it. But every time it was time to pick something to read for my bookshelf, like, it was never going to be The Four Winds. There's just other books I'm more interested in that I own. So I think it would have been years of not reading it, and maybe even potentially one day like unhauling it and giving it away or, you know, donating it. So I'm super glad I got to read it because it was truly like a hidden treasure. Like, I would not have ever predicted how much I would have liked it. We'll do it before and after because I'm going to put my clothes away and I'm going to make my bed. So what's the best transition? Okay, clean room in 3, 2, 1. Okay, now I actually have to clean the room. Hold on. Yeah! I put my clothes away. This is new. And it's leaving like purple fuzz everywhere. So I do not recommend. The struggle of making your bed when your bed is against the wall. It's the reason I don't make my bed. It's the fact I have to like move my mattress from against the wall, jump to that corner so I can tuck things in. In this case, for this room, for this apartment, the corner is better because then we have more space for things like my closet or my locker. You want to see my locker? This is my closet. I think my neighbors hate me because early in the morning I'll be like. But very quickly, before we're done talking about The Four Winds, I did want to say something I really appreciate is the exploration of like family, specifically mother-daughter dynamics and relations. And I'm always interested in womanhood and girlhood and what that meant in different parts of the world. Years past, and you know, I'm curious about years future. And I just realized all the books I read are all written by women for this video. So, give me some feminist points. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. It's very exciting that I'm really enjoying all the books for this video. Okay, my goal today is to finish Emma. I don't know how to finish it. I have to take my time with it. I don't want to rush it just to finish it and then not get the full experience of how much I could have enjoyed it if I really took my time and savored it. So instead of rushing it, I'm just going to take my time with it. I hope to finish today. I'm about 160 pages in. And it's under 400 pages. I don't know how long. But it is what it is. Well, this video will take however long it takes. Yeah. All right. I thought I had a very unique thought, and I was like, wow, this book really reminds me of Clueless. Turns out Clueless is based off of Emma. So there was nothing unique in that update. I'm sorry. I finished Emma. I finished it last night and I really liked it. I enjoyed it so much that I actually like immediately wanted to watch an adaptation, a film adaptation of Emma. So I ended up going with the 2020 version with Anya Taylor-Joy. God, the colors were so pretty in that movie. But yeah, I really like this story and I really liked Emma. Like I've heard from watching other videos of people reading Emma that there's sort of a split between whether people enjoy her as a character or enjoy this book as much as some of Austen's other works. But I thought it was so funny. Like I think it is a really, really funny story. And I think you kind of have to go in the way you like go into Clueless, now that I know that that is an adaptation of Emma. I think you need to go into it like the way you go into like watching Clueless, where it's like, yeah, Cher is annoying and she's sort of teaching Ty the wrong things by being like, ugh, we don't date that stoner guy. Like he's not good enough for girls like us. But you know Cher is like, she means well and she's kind-hearted and she's messing up. But you watch her go through like a character arc. And so that's what happens with Emma. Like, yeah, she's putting her nose in everyone's business. And she's, okay, so the story of Emma, in case you didn't know, because I actually didn't know what it was about before I started reading it. I just knew it was about a potentially annoying girl. And she's just like, she's rich, she's fabulous, she's cute. Therefore, her life is really good. She doesn't have a lot of hardships in her life. So she uses all that energy that she would have had figuring out her own problems into trying to matchmake other people and trying to get her friends together. And she doesn't always get it right. And sometimes she makes things worse. But she means well. She's like a kind-hearted person and she's generous and she's funny. And you watch her like go on this story, this character arc, right? You watch her learn that she needs to chill out and let people make their own decisions. And yeah, and I really like the love story in here too. I was like, oh, I know where this is going. I know who she ends up with. I really liked it. And I've learned that, I mean, I'm excited to read more of Jane Austen's work. I think Pride and Prejudice potentially will be my next one. But definitely for me, I need to read along with my eyes and listen to someone narrate it at the same time, because I can't just do one or the other. I tried just reading it and I was like, girl, I don't know what's happening. And then I tried just listening to it and I was like, girl, so confusing. Yes, so definitely a hybrid, a mix of those two is the perfect reading situation for me when it comes to Jane Austen's work. Yeah, some reflections is that this is long. Like this one took me the longest time. And toward the end, I sort of was rushing and I kind of wish I didn't, because I feel like I would have really enjoyed it more if I took my time with it, if it weren't for a video and I just, you know, was able to take a whole month. Something I've discovered is I thought these two were really, really, really thick books. And I was like, oh, these are gonna take forever. And they did take a long time, don't get me wrong. But I think I have a new idea of what a long book is. And okay, so basically I went to the store the other day and I bought the second book in the Outlander series. And so now I'm like, oh, this is a chunker. These are just books. Like, these are fine. But yeah, so I've read 5 books in this video. Let me see if I can get these plus School for Good Mother, which I returned to the library because it was due and I could not renew it. I ended up liking all of them and I ended up really loving most of them. 4 of them I really, really loved. All right, thanks for watching. Bye!